Yes, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Miss Sohini.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ms. Shashikala, Biju sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. I hope everything is set and shall we go?
Yes, sir. All set.
Okay. Biju sir, please. Let's introduce Shashikala ma'am.
Ms. Shashikala embarked on her professional journey at Scope International Standard Chartered Bank, where she served as an incubation coach. Her exceptional performance in this role earned her the distinction of being recognized as an outstanding incubation coach. Driven by her passion for education, Shashikala transitioned to teaching in 2017. She started as a primary social teacher after completing her graduation in education. Currently, Shashikala is making a significant impact as a secondary social science teacher at Amara Jyoti Public School. With 6.5 years of teaching experience, she has not only excelled in the classroom but also taken on additional responsibilities. Shashikala has served as an event in charge and subject in charge for the middle school. Recently, she was entrusted with the role of CCA, co-curricular activities, in charge for the academic year 2024-25 at Amara Jyoti Public School. Your dedication to education and your diverse responsibilities are commendable. Hearty welcome to Extra Mile Education and Training. The stage is yours. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this astonishing introduction you have given us. Thanks a lot. May I proceed, sir?
Yes, please. The stage is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. A very good evening, everyone. Greetings from Extra Mile. So Extra Mile is an exclusive platform created by Dr. Abdul Salam and for providing online offline training. Having a pool of resource persons, Extra Mile is resourceful to provide on-site training on demand across India. So, before I begin, I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Abdul Salam and Extra Mile Education and Training for giving me this opportunity to explore myself professionally. I also extend a very warm welcome to all the participants. We appreciate your eagerness to embark on the academic year 2024-25 with fresh teaching and learning skills. The National Curriculum Framework for School Education is aimed at transforming the educational landscape to better meet the needs of students, teachers, educators, and society by ensuring that education is relevant to the demands of 21st century. As part of achieving its goals, NCFSC outlines a comprehensive strategies to ensure that assessments in education are meaningful, holistic, conducive to fostering student growth and understanding. So today, we are here to absorb the knowledge about some of the assessment strategies which enables continuous and comprehensive assessment to support student learning. As educators embark on this journey, we shall seek to align your pedagogical practices with the learning environment that empowers students to excel academically and develop essential life skills. So, before we begin with today's session, there are a few things I would like to brief you about. Any queries during the session can be conveyed through the meeting chat box. To ensure an interactive experience, we encourage you all to ask questions to clear any doubts. So please use the virtual hand raise button and wait for your name to be called before speaking. The participants will have the opportunity to receive certificate only after filling up the certificate and feedback form. So the link for which will be shared at the end of the session. So I request you all to kindly stay connected till the end of the session. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Abdul Salam. Dr. Salam is a CBSE resource person and master trainer. He's the founder and CEO of BTAG and Extra Mile Education and Training. He has worked as the assessor of National Accreditation Board for Education and Training, Government of India. Sir, it's indeed a pleasure to have your gracious presence, and I would request you to take the proceedings of the evening.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. And hearty congratulations on embarking upon a new academic year. Some schools have already started. Some schools are going to start from Monday onwards. And all the very best to everyone, all educators. Your input, insights will be very beneficial to students, and Extra Mile is bringing you the best training sessions based on the needs and requirements. And I would like to request each and everyone not to miss any session, because the best quality of an educator is to be a lifelong learner. Whenever there is a chance to attend a training, a course, we should not hesitate to attend it. And thank you for joining. We have very frequent educators attending every session, just like Indu ma'am and all. So I take this opportunity to congratulate them, appreciate them, and we have to follow their examples. Extra Mile is always with the educator giving the best of trainings. And one more thing, after every training we give the certificate link, which is a permanent link which all educators can save, and you can use for every training. The same link can be used for every training. Another thing I would like to bring to your attention is, after the training, after you fill up the form and all, many say that they don't receive the certificate. So I humbly request you to look for your certificates in the spam mail. Sometimes, most of the time, it goes to the spam folder. So please go and check your spam mail. Another reason may be the email ID that participants enter might be wrong. So some of the mails come back, they bounce. One more reason is there sometimes participants do not enter their transaction ID that they receive from the bank in the form. So sometimes that also is one of the reasons. So let us take care and wish you all the very best for your eagerness in learning. Let us learn, unlearn, and relearn. Right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, all the teachers should use this platform to enhance their skills. So definitely everyone should be joining every time, which will help all of us educators. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to introduce Mr. Biju. So Mr. Biju S. Pillai, the co-founder of BTAG, has vast experience in the field of education in many capacities, including being the principal of many reputed CBSE schools. Sir, we are honored to have your gracious presence amidst us. I request Mr. Biju S. Pillai to felicitate the gathering with his kind words.
Thank you, Shashikala ma'am. Good evening, Salam sir. Good evening. Today's resource person Shofni Biswas ma'am, and all the other respective educators around the globe. A wonderful evening. And as our director told, you all are getting ready for getting into a new academic year, and all will be having different ways and strategies to be adopted in our new classroom sessions. These ideas you might have got it from the in-house training or from some of the capacity building programs which you have observed in your classroom, where the vacation classes were going on. So all these ideas come to a conclusion in which all ways a child can be assessed, or what all the assessment tools should be adopted to improve the teaching learning process. About all these and much more, we can hear from our respected resource person of today, Mrs. Sohini Roy, ma'am. So let us hear to her valuable words, and wonderful evening to all to join this platform. Thank you. Back to Shashikala, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your kind words. It's an honor to introduce today's resource person, Ms. Sohini Roy Biswas. Introducing Ms. Sohini Roy Biswas, who holds a first-class master's degree in English literature from the esteemed University of Calcutta and a B.Ed degree from Jivaji University. She is a distinguished figure in the realm of English education with over 14 years of enriching experience. She served as the postgraduate teacher and head of department for English at Amrita Vidyalayam, New Delhi, where her leadership and expertise shone brightly. Her commitment to academic excellence has been recognized on numerous occasions, including a prestigious certificate of appreciation from the former Education Minister, Ms. Smriti Irani. Her consistent delivery of stellar results in grade 12 examinations stands as a testament to her proficiency and dedication. Furthermore, Ms. Sohini's expertise has been sought out after by the Central Board of Secondary Education, where she has served as an evaluator for grade 12 English examinations. For an impressive 8 years. Currently, she continues to shape young minds as a PGT English at 21K School, bringing her wealth of experience and passion to inspire the next generations of learners. Ma'am, it's indeed a pleasure to be part of this webinar with you as a resource person. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shashikala, for that beautiful introduction. I am overwhelmed and so happy. All right, I will present my screen and let me know if you are able to see it. Ms. Shashikala, you can let me know you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm able to see it.
All right. So once again, a very good evening to all the enthusiastic educators from across the country and the globe. At the very onset, I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Salam and Mr. Biju for creating this worthy platform called Extra Mile Education and Training for the free flow of knowledge and the best educational practices. It is for their passion and dedication that we are able to evolve as educators. So my sincere gratitude goes to Dr. Salam and Mr. Biju. Now, a lot of appreciation right in the beginning of the session would go to all the teachers, educators, and facilitators. I can see some 230, 232 of you here. I know that in many of the schools, you are right in the middle of the summer vacation, right? You still have shown the zeal to come up to learn a new skill. That's highly, highly commendable. So right in the beginning of the session, I think you all deserve a confetti shower. Thank you so much. Okay, now moving ahead, I would like to give you a disclaimer. And the disclaimer is that today's session is going to be quite an active one, right? We will do a lot of things. So stay tuned till the end of the session, as Ms. Shashikala has correctly said. In today's session, we will include a lot of creative thinking, idea mapping, brainwriting, and thought showers. Okay, so I would like to invite the worthy teachers to warm up for the same. Why don't we start with an activity? Okay, so I would request all of you to open the chat box, write your name, and write one adjective that describes you as a teacher. Okay, I will go first, and I would write my name. And maybe I will write this. Please open your chat box, write your name, and write one adjective that describes you as a teacher. Oh wow, such warm responses have started pouring in. Elizabeth, the enthusiastic. Vandana, the jolly one. Wow, students must be loving to have you around. Anupama and Geeta, the explorer. Wow, inundated with responses. Yummy, the tenacious. Such a beautiful quality. Deep, the innovative. Wow. And Sabah, the inspiring. Wow. That's that's so heartening to see that all are engaging in this activity and sending such warm responses. Compassionate, proactive. Wow, that's so lovely. That's so lovely. And trust me, when I say that after reading these adjectives written against your names, I'm absolutely convinced that I'm in the middle of a cohort of luminaries who are change makers and nation builders, because the qualities that you have written absolutely state that. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to all the teachers who are present here, and you absolutely deserve once again this confetti shower for your active participation and the positive responses. Okay, now moving ahead, I would like to ask a lot of questions and I would like to see a lot of active participation on your behalf. Moving to the next slide. I have a question, okay? But before that, let's have a look at this slide. What does it say? It says assessments a decade ago. Now let us go back in time, dear teachers, and try to remember our studenthood, okay? The time when we were students. Assessment time used to be the most stressful one. I'm sure all of you would agree. And it used to be a period of anxiety and unimaginable stress. I would like to invite a few of you to come forward and share your experience from when you were a student. Okay, just raise your virtual hand, unmute yourself, and tell us, how did you feel when you were a student and examinations would be around the corner? Or maybe you can tell us, how did you feel when you were about to write your board examination? Okay, let us be vocal here. Okay, just raise your virtual hand. And I would like to see a few of the facilitators and educators coming forward and sharing their experience from when they were a student. Please go ahead. Anyone? Okay, you can take to the chat box as well. But I would like someone to really come forward and tell us, how did you feel when you were a student and the examinations would be around the corner? Wow, I see a hand up. Ms. Shutapa. Yes, please go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here today. So, yeah, my memories of my assessment times are like terrible. I remember I have had nightmares even after finishing my degrees, even after finishing my post-graduation degrees. And whenever I would hear that somebody was to appear for their examination, I would still have nightmares. So that I hope that sums it up.
Oh, absolutely. So the assessments used to be the dreadful times, right? Thank you so much, Ms. Shutapa, for sharing it so honestly, and you were so upfront about it. Yes, absolutely. That is how we remember the assessment times, right? Now, let us look back and try to analyze what made assessment so dreadful. I would like you to have a look on your screen. Assessments probably used to be so stressful because assessments followed one size fits all pattern. Apart from that, it also had a lack of timely feedback. Don't you think so? Feedback would only come in form of report cards that we would get once in at the end of first term and once at the end of the final term. That was the only time when we would get feedback. So there was no time for us to think about our performance, reflect on it, and improve it, right? The next thing was something that you all would agree. Assessment times would make us feel like a pressure cooker, right? With so many subjects and so much of syllabus to cover, we all would feel that we were all in the middle of a pressure cooker with so much of stress on us. And probably the worst part about the assessments a decade ago was the fact that they all laid emphasis on rote learning, memorization. So it catered to only a group of students who were good at retaining information, who would read and mug up and would be able to, just write the answers exactly the way it is wanted or it is asked for. So this is a reason why we all would have a very bad feeling when the assessments would be around. But thanks to that one charter that the government of India came up with, times have changed. What do we see now? We now see that NEP 20, that is National Education Policy 20, has come to our rescue. The backdated exams that induced fear and promoted nothing but rote learning now are a thing of past, right? Many of you would have probably read the NEP. I think most of us have read the NEP, and you have come across this term called PARAKH. It is spelled as PARAKH. And the word stands for Performance Assessment, Review Analysis for Knowledge and Holistic Development, right? So now it is a pattern that has been introduced, and this has been done to set standards and benchmarks for students and their assessments across India and the globe, right? So thanks to that, those nightmarish assessments are a thing of past now. Now that that brings us to the next point. NEP also suggests enhancing teachers' understanding of various assessment methods and tools to better evaluate student learning outcomes. Because when the assessment pattern is changing, the trends are changing. Of course, we have to update ourselves, upskill ourselves to meet the standards and the expectations, right? We need to align Indian assessment standards with the international best practices to ensure global competitiveness. May I have a volunteer now to read out some of the norms that will be helpful for us to understand the session, and they are specified in the National Education Policy 2020. Yes, Ms. Geeta, please go ahead. Yes. Please go ahead, Ms. Geeta, read them out. Ms. Geeta?
Geeta, please unmute yourself.
One second.
Are you having any trouble with your microphone? I guess so.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, it is fine. Yes, please go ahead, Ms. Geeta.
Flexibility. Providing multiple pathways and flexibility in assessments to cater to diverse learning styles and process. Student-centric. Placing the student on the center of the assessment process. Regular review and feedback mechanisms. Establishing mechanisms for regular review and feedback. Focus on learning outcomes, aligning assessments with clearly defined learning outcomes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Geeta. You read it so beautifully, and thank you for volunteering.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, dear teachers, we are looking at a revamped assessment pattern, aren't we? It is time appropriate and wholesome both, right? So assessments have essentially changed and changed for better. So now we all agree that assessments have to have certain qualities in them. What are those? They have to be continuous. So no longer having those term and examinations only, which would induce fear and do nothing, do no good to us, right? Apart from that, they have to be adaptive. They have to be inclusive. That is, we should not cater to only one group of students. We should cater to multiple intelligences. We should cater to all the cognitive groups. Then they have to be diverse. And most importantly, they have to be application-based. So these are some of the prominent features of how NEP wants us to make our assessments. Now that makes us question ourselves, don't you think so? Are we ready for the change? Are we equipped with enough tools to assist our children in this journey? Now, this question gives me the opportunity to welcome you once again to today's webinar on exit tickets. I'm delighted that you are here, eager to learn about this powerful tool for enhancing student engagement and improving instructional practices. Moving forward, don't let this term make you feel overwhelmed. Before we move forward, I would like all of us to have a clear idea about the agenda of the session. And may I request once again a friend of mine from the audience to kindly read out the session itinerary to the audience. I would like a volunteer and real quick. Please go ahead, raise your virtual hand. Yes, Miss Jaya, go ahead.
Ms. Jaya, please unmute yourself.
Yes.
What are exit tickets? Why is feedback important? Exit ticket as formative assessment, role play, exit ticket ideas, digital exit tickets, sample question for exit tickets, apps and toolkit, best practices for exit tickets, integrating feedback, question and answer session.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jaya. You read it so beautifully. So, dear teachers, as I promised, our platter is full, right? There is a lot on the cards, and for that, you all have to stay tuned till the end. Okay, now moving ahead, what are exit tickets? Because the term is quite confusing. Okay, we don't know any tickets that are required in a school. Don't let the term make you feel overwhelmed, because exit tickets are nothing but a quick tool. It's a quick informal assessment method used at the end of a lesson to gauge student understanding and gather feedback. By asking students to reflect on what they have learned, exit tickets provide immediate insights into their comprehension, allowing teachers to identify areas that may need reteaching, or maybe you will have to go for further exploration, right? In today's session, we will explore the benefits of exit tickets, various types of questions that you can use in an exit ticket, how to effectively integrate the data or the feedback that you receive to improve your teaching. We'll also look at a few tools and apps that we can help streamline this process, right? So these are going to be on the agenda for today. But because exit ticket is a tool that collects feedback, I think it is only pertinent that we discuss why feedback is so important, right? As teachers, we oftentimes get complacent. We feel that whatever we are doing is just fine. Whatever we practice is just fine. But it is only after we start taking feedback, we know that we also need to evolve. We also need to revamp our pedagogy. Once again, I would like a volunteer from the audience to quickly read the points that tell us why feedback is so much important. Can I have a quick volunteer? Okay, I think I'll go for Ms. Yamini. Thank you so much for volunteering. Please go ahead.
It helps us to identify strengths and weaknesses, adapt teaching methods, address misconceptions, and active participation.
Go ahead, read the next slide as well.
Foster trust and openness, track progress, cultivate reflective practice, encourage peer collaboration.
So these are all the, thank you so much, Ms. Yamini, you read it so wonderfully again. Okay, so we all now understand that feedback is highly essential for growth, right? And that is why we lay a lot of emphasis on collecting feedback. Now, how to do that? We will get to that later. Maybe I'm reminded here of a certain saying that says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So let us have some fun now, okay? I welcome you to this role play. What do you have to do? Shortly, you will be taken to a class, all right? You have to assume that you are students. So I'm taking you back to your student days, all right? So you'll have to assume that you are students and observe the class very carefully. And after that, you will have to be ready for an activity. It's that simple, okay? So now let's go and observe a class and pretend that we are again back to our school benches, okay? We are sitting there. Okay, moving ahead, welcome to Miss Lucy's class. And here you go.
A, B, A, B, A, B, C. A, B, A, B, A, B, C. A, B, A, B, A, B, Master.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm teaching them the alphabet.
It goes like this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABC. Come along and sing with me.
I'll never remember that.
It's your job to remember.
How does it go again?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
That'll do.
No, it won't do. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
That's a bit I'll struggle with. It's too much. What about this? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now let's learn to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
We're not doing counting, are we?
No.
What are we doing?
Alphabet.
Now repeat. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
H, I, J, K, Emily P. H, I, J, K, Emily P.
You're saying Emily, aren't you?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
but it's wrong.
It's too fast.
It's got to be fast to rhyme.
Oh, it's got a rhyme.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What about A, B, S, C, J, L, G, E, K, I, O, P, H, and
It's got to rhyme and be in the right order.
D. You're just picking on me now.
Now we'll go again. A, B, C, D. Eyes to me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P.
L, M, N, O, P.
I want to go home.
L, M, N, O, P.
L, M, N, O, P.
Q, R, S, T, U, V.
Q, R, S, T, U, V.
W, X.
W,
That bell's for me, not you. W, X, Y, and Z.
W, X, Y, and Z.
Now I know my ABC.
H, I, J, K,
Come
L,
along and sing with me.
Hey, kids, before we go, let's do nursery rhymes. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba.
Miss Sogini, you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Imagine being in such a class, right? The headmaster was evidently worried, and I'm sure he would ask the students for a feedback, right? So now, you were the students here in this class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share an exit ticket link with you through the chat box. All that you have to do is click on this exit ticket and give me your inputs. We will see your inputs or we will see your feedback in real time. Okay? Just you have to click on the link and you will find this fine exit ticket in front of you which asks you, how do you feel after today's class? I know you would all like to write traumatized, but I'm sure you have a diverse vocabulary and you would think of ways to give me your feedback. Please go ahead, open the pen indicator and let me know what you think of the class. Okay, right now we are not using the chat box. What are we using is a pen with a link. There is a link in the chat box. Just click on that and the way your peers or participants are giving you feedback, you are able to see that in real time, right? Oh wow, I love the play of words. It was quite scattered. Okay, mismanagement. Okay, so some of the students also quite happy about it. Okay, mind-boggling, of course. Okay, and there was a lot of panic. Absolutely, you're part of the teacher. No management. Oh sure, of course. Poor teaching, chaotic, not equipped. The teacher was not equipped at all. Absolutely right. So you see how easy it is to generate feedback, right? Now, doesn't mean that exit ticket only has to be used by the teacher for the students. I'm sure there are many participants who are present here who are principals, who are administrators, who are coordinators or headmasters or headmistresses. So whenever you are trying to gather some information about teaching practices of a particular teacher, all that you can do is give a quick exit ticket link to your students. And trust me, all the feedback will be within your reaches in no time at all. With that, we come to the end of this exit ticket and thank you very much for participating in this, right? So exit ticket is this easy. It's It just takes a moment to plan, and then you know what the students felt about a particular class or a particular teacher, and it can be very well used by anyone, teachers, administrators alike. Okay? Now with that, we go back to our presentation and see what next. Okay, now here is a quiz, okay? It's not a difficult one, I promise. Now let us think of the feedback mechanism that we just witnessed. You watched a class, you observed a class, and you gave your feedback on the class. So what are the things that you saw in the feedback? We saw that it was real-time feedback, of course. Then it was assessment for learning. Okay, we learned something from it, or we learned, what are the loopholes and all. And then it involved a lot of student reflection, because as students, you had to think, right? What kind of feedback to give after observing the class. Then you could identify the learning gaps. Then you could suggest the next steps. Probably the headmaster would ask the teacher to take some upskilling course or to apply for a different role. I don't know. But then that was definitely this exit ticket would definitely suggest some next steps. And then it would monitor progress, and it can be done frequently and informally. And finally, it brings the focus on outcome of learning. Am I right? So now, after looking at all the qualities that you just saw, I would like to ask you a quick question. We all are familiar with the term formative assessment, and we all are familiar with the term summative assessment. Now, the qualities that are there on your screen, what do they suggest? Do they suggest exit ticket as a formative assessment, or do they suggest that exit ticket is a summative assessment? Please use your chat box and tell me.
We have an answer from Ms. Vinayaka as formative assessment. Many
Absolutely.
are saying FA, ma'am, formative assessment.
Absolutely. So see how wonderfully using exit tickets, you're actually conducting frequent assessments for students and getting to know what are the things that they understand well, what are the things that they don't understand so well, and you can adapt your strategies and pedagogy around that. Yeah. So we are actually not just looking at an exit ticket, we are looking at formative assessment, which can be done frequently and informally, right? Exactly the way NEP suggests, National Education Policy suggests. So after that, that brings us to the next golden question. Ma'am, as teachers, our hands are always full, right? We have so much to do. There are so many tasks that we need to take care of. How may I create an exit ticket? Is it time consuming? And how often should we do it? And the data that we collect, how do we save that? Well, hold on to your horses. Let me address all those questions that are flooding your mind right now. Okay, let me break this news to you. First, it's absolutely free. Creating exit tickets, whether the digital ones or the physical copies of exit tickets, it really doesn't cost anything. And I know you are busy. There are so many things, so many chores that you're taking care of. So it's super fast. You can create an exit ticket literally under 5 minutes. So I think for generating this kind of constructive feedback, we can always spend 5 minutes, right? Okay. Now, I would like to show you a few templates or the physical formats for gathering exit tickets. Okay. Is it an elaborate process? Not really. How much preparation would be needed? It would take 5 minutes of your time. Once you have a format like this, what you can do is you can visit the stationery of your school, and every school has a photocopy machine, right? So you can get these formats printed in bulk. They need not change with every lesson if your questions are such. And once you have the bulk of prints, you can simply tear them along the perforation, keep them in a box. And whenever you have come to the end of a lesson, you can ask the monitor to take the box around, give one chit to every child, and ask them to write whatever questions you have given them, right? So it will hardly take 5 minutes of your time to create. And once you have all the copies printed, you can have this exit ticket activity anytime in your class without, sweating much. Now, after that, let us look at the next template. Okay, look at this one. Now, exit tickets are not just meant for mathematics classes or English classes. Think of an art teacher who goes to the class and gives a task to the students to draw a beautiful scenery, maybe. And after that, he asks a question like, what are the colors you used? And can you tell me what do the colors associate with? If you had to use a color for a mood, which color would you use for which mood? Isn't it a reflective question? And that is how he will generate feedback from his class, right? Moving ahead, you're going to a junior class, say you're going to a class, you're going to a section of grade 3 or grade 2. Trust me, they love the Avenger movies. So if your exit ticket format has this Avenger theme on it, they would absolutely love it and they would get it done and filled within no time. And once it is done, you collect them. Whenever you're having lunch or you're probably having a break, you can simply leaf through them. It will give you a clear idea about how well your lesson went. Now look at the next one. I'm particularly fond of these two. Dear teachers, have a good look at the questions that these exit tickets ask. We talk about only comprehension of concepts. Fellow educators, do you notice that here we are actively engaging dispositions and encouraging emotional intelligence? We talk about EQ all the time, right? Emotional intelligence quotient. This is somewhere we are using the emotional intelligence very actively. When the students use action words such as I notice, I wonder, I see, I understand, I get better at, I understood this clearly. What are they doing? They're basically feeling more confident and they feel involved in the process. They feel that they're valued and their suggestions, they really count, right? So this is one way of using exit tickets to, actively use emotional intelligence and, nurture students' dispositions, intelligent dispositions, right? Now, the next question is, ma'am, I want to do an exit ticket activity, but I really did not have time to get those templates printed, or I don't have any format printed with me. What do I do? Can I not do an exit ticket activity in class? Okay, as teachers, ladies and gentlemen, just have a quick look at what I'm showing. It's what's in my hand. It's nothing but it's just a bunch of Post-its, right? So Post-its can be an excellent way to get informal exit ticket activity done, an exit ticket activity done. So what all that you need to do is, pass this bunch of Post-its around, and you can be, they can be used for students to write quick reflections, and ask them that on your way out, just stick those Post-its on the door. Okay, so you immediately have a colorful wall full of feedback. And you don't really need to collect them. If you really think that there are a few of them which are very, very important and you would like to follow up, you can collect them. Otherwise, you can have a quick look at that exit door and you have a clear idea about how well the lesson went, right? That is not a very, very difficult thing to do. Post-it is something, it's a supply that we all have, right? Okay, moving ahead. Okay, I don't even have the Post-it, ma'am, I ran out of Post-its. So what do I do? Can I not have an exit ticket activity? Oh, yes, you can. Just ask your student, one of the students, the kinesthetic ones, who just love to go out of the classroom very often. Just ask a student like that to visit the sports room. And every school sports room would have either a volleyball or a football or a beach ball or whatever you call it, right? So bring that to your class. Take a marker, which you all would have because we all use whiteboard so actively, and say, I have taught a play in the class, okay? At the end of the play, I would like to understand student comprehension. So I would just take a marker and I would write, scribble these words on the beach ball. And I take that ball and I throw the ball to the students, whosoever catches it. And wherever his thumb lands, he will have to answer that question. Say, I catch the ball and my thumb lands on character. So I would have to take any one character or do a quick character analysis in the class in front of my peers. Now, imagine the excitement among the students. They all would love to catch the ball and say something. this is something that you are doing very actively in the class, and it involves a lot of students. It creates a lot of excitement, and it is not like just giving them a worksheet and asking them, okay, now you have read the play, now you go ahead and write the answers to these questions. You are doing the same thing. You are gauging their learning outcome, but in an active and fun way. So exit tickets don't necessarily have to be printed all the time or prepared all the time. If you have ideas, you can come up with an exit ticket activity anytime, right? Moving ahead, the next thing that I like about exit tickets is that how easy they are to create and how easy they are to follow up. Okay, for example, this activity. I'll shortly show you a teacher who uses these 3 cutouts. All that you are seeing on your screen are nothing but 3 cutouts. Okay, you take a sheet of paper and you cut them, in the shape of a heart, a hand, and a head. Right now, you must be wondering, what kind of exit ticket is this? How can I use this kind of exit ticket, and what kind of responses can I expect using this kind of exit ticket? Now, all of us go to value education classes, right? Value education is a compulsory subject. You call it value education, you call it moral science. It's a compulsory subject in all the schools, at least till grade 8, right? Most of the schools I have worked with or I have been to, I have seen that there is a value education class for the students. Now, this is a wonderful way to use simple paper cutouts such as heart, hand, and head to understand whether the value that I imparted through the lesson percolated or not. How is it done? Let's go to this teacher's class and see how she's using it.
After hearing about this lesson and the importance of making wise choices when it comes to drugs and alcohol and tobacco, what is one thing that you are feeling now? What is something that you're feeling that's really touched you? Yes?
That some people don't always make the right choices, but other people can make the right ones after them.
Right. That we can learn from other people's mistakes, for sure. So what is one thing that you're going to continue to think about after this lesson? So what are you going to continue to think about, right?
That your choices can affect your family.
Definitely. Your choices can affect other people besides just yourself. And then the last one, the hand. What's one thing that you're going to do now that you know this information? What are you going to do? Yes. Not do drugs. Thank you.
Wow, that was very quick and very efficient. And now we know that the value that the teacher tried to impart has actually hit the right place. And I'm so overwhelmed to see the chat box right now. The teachers have given their valuable inputs here and insights here, and they have written the strategies they use for making exit tickets. 3, 2, 1. Yes, it's a very efficient way of taking feedback from the students. 3 things you learned, 2 questions you want to ask, 1 thing that is still confusing to you, right? And now the teachers are asking, for chemistry, how can we use an exit ticket? For mathematics, how can we use one? And there are a lot of compliments in the chat box, which are absolutely heartwarming. Thank you so very much. So I'm coming to that. I'm coming to how you can get responses or feedback or exit ticket activity done for different subjects. Okay, I'm coming to that. Now, moving ahead.
After hearing about this lesson and the importance of making,
we will have one last look at a physical tool for making this exit ticket activity. It's your blackboard. Okay, so say I have taught a lesson, and at the end of the lesson, I am left with 5 minutes time, or I'm left with 7 minutes time. All that I'll do, I'll take a chalk and make 3 partitions on the board, and I will ask my students to, using this inexpensive and super fast way, I will ask them to write about what are the things that they built up, okay, just like a pyramid. What are the ideas that they squared with, or they had a previous knowledge and they could relate to that. And if you are teaching concave and convex lens, I'm sure the students would have a lot of questions even after the first lesson. So what are the things that, or what are the concepts that made their head spin? That is denoted by the circle. So once again, a very inexpensive and super fast way to elicit responses for an exit ticket. Now coming to the next question, how can we get it done for different subjects? Okay. Before I talk about that, I would like to talk about something that again takes us back to National Education Policy 20. National Education Policy strongly recommends that we invite the integration of technology into assessments. I'm sorry. It suggests we use artificial intelligence and data analytics to create personalized learning experiences and track student progress effectively. I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry. NEP also encourages us to use the digital platforms for assessments and enabling a more interactive and engaging evaluation process, right? So we don't have to restrict ourselves only with the physical mode of doing exit ticket activity. We have the chance to go digital because that is what our national education policy is asking us to do, to become digitally sound, right? Now, making digital exit tickets takes less than 5 minutes, and sending them also has become very easy because I see these days most of the schools would have group-wise, class-wise, section-wise WhatsApp and Telegram groups made. We even have Google Classroom where all the students are added. So sending the exit tickets, digital exit tickets, is again a very super fast way to do, a super fast way to send exit tickets. So now in the next few slides, in the next few segments of the presentation, we will learn what are the apps that we can use for making digital exit tickets, okay? So now coming to the question that I could see in the chat box, how to create an exit ticket for mathematics, how to create an exit ticket for chemistry, for geography, right? So I'm sure when you see the liberty that these digital apps give you, you will be absolutely happy, and you can just change the questions a bit, and then your exit ticket of your particular subject and your particular lesson would be ready in no time. Okay, moving forward, the first app that I would like to talk about, this is one of my favorites. Okay, there are so many apps that you can use for creating exit ticket, but I would like to talk about the ones which I use very often with my students and which are my absolute favorites. The first app that I will talk about is Book Widgets. Okay, now dear facilitators and educators who are asking me about the link and apps, don't worry. With Salam Sir's guidance, I have created a toolkit for all of us, okay, which will be given to you at the end of the session, so that you all have a handy toolkit that you can use for creating your exit tickets. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We're going to look at Book Widgets. It's a free tool for all the teachers across the globe. Okay, it's an exit ticket platform which assesses student understanding real quick, and digital format saves time on grading, because grading can be done online using all the AI tools that come integrated with Book Widgets. Okay, now how to use one and how to create one. I will show you a quick tutorial. Okay, a lot of tutorials are available online, but I have created a tutorial, a very short one for you. Okay, it's super fast, but trust me, that will show you, how little time it really takes to create one. Okay, so this is the Book Widget app, the homepage, where you go. And then you can see there is an exit ticket template already created. All that you do is just click on that. Yeah, and then you enter the name of the lesson. For example, you have taught a lesson in chemistry, so you enter the name of that lesson and then enter the questions that you would like to ask. We will talk about the type of questions in detail, of course. And then a very beautiful part about this book widget is that it asks you the questions which are really reflective in nature, right? So you'll have a ready-made template, you will have a pool of questions to choose from, which you can just tweak a little and it will be ready in no time. See, as I'm typing the questions, I'm preparing the exit ticket. And then once I have typed all the questions, I will go to the share button, copy the link, and just as I shared the Mentimeter link with you, which is another way of creating exit tickets, you just have to share the link with your students. That's all. And you can even set a time. You can tell them that I want the responses by 7 p.m. See, this is a student view of it. And the best part about it, it asks you to select an emoji to say, how did you feel in the class, right? The students absolutely love that. And see, it's made and sent. You made it, you created it, you sent the link, and the students have sent their response. That's all. Okay, moving ahead, we have another app. And this app is another one of my favorites. It's called Socrative. Okay, again, it's a free app, free for all teachers across the globe. And because these apps are globally used, you will get a lot of ideas from the pool of questions that they come with. Okay, so Socrative exit tickets offer real-time feedback, helping teachers to quickly gauge student comprehension. They're easy, very easy to set up and use, providing instant data on student performance. And here you can see me making one for you. So you open the app, you go to this existing template. So you are not creating one from scratch. That saves a lot of time, am I right? Yes. And then here, see, it's a live quiz, comes with a set of questions. You just have to share the link with the students. And here itself, when you go to results, you will see that the analysis of the data, how many students understood it, how many students have given a positive feedback, how many students have raised questions, all of that will be presented in front of you in form of bar graph or in form of pie chart, okay, for your quick understanding. See, the exit ticket is made. Now I'm going to share it. You can share via multiple modes. There is a QR code, there is a link sharing option. There's a lot that you can do with Socrative, right? And trust me when I say these apps are not just for creating exit tickets. They're excellent for creating quiz. They're excellent for creating assessments of other kinds as well. Okay, so we just now learned about 2 exit ticket formats or 2 digital apps. And there's one that we all are familiar with. During the COVID time, all of us have made many Google Forms. Am I right? But looking at the global popularity of exit tickets, this assessment tool has been picked up by Google and they have added a template in their existing Google Form gallery. Let's see how we can make one using Google Form. So once you open a Google Form, you will find exit ticket in their existing gallery. All that you have to do, you have to pick it. Okay, you can see my gallery and you can see how often I use an exit ticket, right? Okay, so you click on the template, you customize it, you write the name of the lesson. It comes with a set of reflective questions such as, did you feel prepared for today's lesson? Okay, how could my lesson be more effective? You're giving student agency again. You're asking them to get involved in the process. And this is absolutely one of my favorite features where they are given a linear scale where they can rate their feeling or they can rate their experience. Okay, just watch. We will show how the students see it. It asks on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate your happiness after today's lesson? I can see this chat box is inundated with appreciation, and you're also asking about the link of the certificate again. Link of the certificate will be given at the end of the session. But before that, we will learn a few more tools. And we also are yet to see what are the right kind of questions to be used in an exit ticket. Okay, so this is how we create an exit ticket using Google Form. And once it is created, you can simply click on copy link and share it with your students. That's all. Your job is done and your data will be collected. Now moving ahead, we will talk about ideal questions for an exit ticket. Ideal questions for an exit ticket have certain qualities in them. And may I have a volunteer from the audience to read out what are the qualities that we look forward to in an exit ticket question? May I have a quick volunteer here? Just raise your virtual hand and you can start reading. Anyone? Please go ahead and quickly volunteer so that we can proceed. I would go ahead with Miss Indu. Miss Indu, please go ahead and read the slide.
Ideal questions for an exit ticket: maintain brevity, focus on key concepts, generate immediate feedback, encourage reflection.
Thank you so much. So these are the qualities that an exit ticket must have. And I would like to give Ms. Indu a quick confetti shower for reading it so beautifully and promptly. Thank you, Ms. Indu. All right. So now coming to ideal questions, let us understand one thing. An exit ticket is not a worksheet. It is not an exercise that you do after you teach a lesson. The idea behind using an exit ticket is to make sure that you ask your students to reflect on the entire experience and not just the text and not just the concept that is taught. All right. Now, with that, we will move to the next slide and look at some of the ideal questions that can be used in an exit ticket. I think a lot of teachers were asking me, what kind of questions can be given in an exit ticket, right? So now this is the, opportunity for us to have a good look at different kinds of questions that we can give in an exit ticket. And since I have this bad habit of asking you to raise your hand, I would ask you to raise your hand again. May I have another volunteer, another learned friend of mine, to use this slide to read out ideal questions for an exit ticket, please? Ms. Geeta again. Please go ahead, Ms. Geeta.
Conceptual understanding. What is the main idea of today's lesson? Application. How would you apply what you learned today to a real-world situation? Give an example of how you might use concept outside of class. Reflection. What part of the lesson was the most confusing for you? What is one thing you learned today that surprised you?
Please go ahead. You have one more slide and another set of questions.
Opinion or feedback. What did you enjoy most about today's lesson? Do you feel confident about the material covered today? Why or why not? According to you, the most funny moment was strategy building. What questions do you still have about today's lesson? What topic would you like to explore further based on today's lesson?
Thank you, Ms. Geeta, for reading them out so beautifully and so very humbly. All right. So again, I would like to reiterate that an exit ticket is not a worksheet. It is not an exercise which we give to the students to check, whether they understand how to add numbers or whether they know which character said what. It is about reflective questions. It is about understanding their overall experience and their overall comprehension and not just the textual knowledge. Okay. Now moving ahead, we have one last activity, okay? For that, I would like all of us to first see how an exit ticket can be made using a Padlet. Again, it's an app used extensively for creating Google, for using and creating exit tickets. Again, it comes with a template. You can see a quick tutorial where I am using this beautiful way of making an exit ticket. And it's so interactive and vibrant that our students love it. See, it is made in no time. And if you're wondering what kind of feedback will I generate, I would like to share one from one of my classes. Okay, so at the end of my class, I had given an exit ticket like this. Okay, and I had asked them these 3 simple questions. What was good about the class? What was bad? And what are the improvements that they're looking forward to? Now, may I get one volunteer to tell us what do they understand from the responses that the students have given? You can even go to the chat box and write, or you can simply unmute yourself and tell us. Just have a good look at the slide. Just have a good look at the exit ticket responses and tell me, what did you understand? What do the data that is collected here tells you about my class? Anyone, please go ahead, use the chat box. I can see a lot of responses already.
Effectiveness from
Yes,
Miss
absolutely. It is highlighting the parts which were effective. Anything else? Go ahead. Yes, they want more fun-based learning. Thank you so much for that response that you have given. You are Miss Sabha. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. They want conceptual clarity. Yes, absolutely. It is student-centered. Yes. In the previous session that we had, we spoke actively about student agency, right? So this is absolutely student-centered. Students feel free to express themselves. Absolutely. You're hitting on the right objectives of this session. Interactive and child-centered. Absolutely right. A type of gaming. Yes. They do it in a fun way, no? They don't feel that, oh, I have to open the notebook and write answer to the questions. They love to explore these platforms and they love to pour in their responses, and the responses are very, very honest, right? Joy of learning. Yes. Space for interaction builds confidence. It helps us understand learning gaps. Absolutely. Promotes engagement. Oh, wow. So how did I do it? And how much time did it take? It took me under 30 seconds to create this feedback form. And I shared the link with the students, and the students themselves have given their responses. All that I have to do is look at it and think about my next class. So what are the things that I need to incorporate more? What are the things I should avoid? And what are some of the improvements that the students are looking forward to? I have the entire data in front of me without moving an inch from my chair. That is just lovely, right? Okay. Thank you so much for those lovely responses and for analyzing what I'm trying to show. Moving forward, here is your toolkit. Of course, a handout will be given. Here is a toolkit that you can use for creating exit tickets, digital exit tickets, right? Because oftentimes it may happen that you don't have time to print those templates or do it the other way, because we all have syllabus completion pressure and all. So you can always use these digital exit tickets to elicit responses, right? And that is something that the government is actively promoting. They want us teachers to be tech savvy, right? Because we often think of only the paper and pen way. We also have to think the digital way now. Okay. Now, after that, there is the next question that comes to our mind is, what is a good exit ticket and what is a bad exit ticket? And how do you tell them from the other? Okay. Now I'm going to show two. Okay, I said that was the last activity, but I'm asking you to do this activity again. Okay, I'm so sorry for that, but I'm sure this will be beneficial. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I'm going to show you two exit tickets, okay? This is exit ticket 1. And next I'm going to showcase another exit ticket. And you're going to go to the chat box and just write the number of the exit ticket which you think is the better one. Okay? And also I would appreciate if you can tell me why do you think exit ticket 1 is the good one or exit ticket 2 is the good one, okay? Which one is the better one? Out of the two, just take a 30 seconds time, take your 30 seconds time and study the questions that are given in both the exit tickets. Sorry.
Miss Sunita says A1, that's first one.
Okay, okay.
Ladu juice. Ambreen, the first one. So we have many saying the first one.
Which one is a better exit ticket? Remember, an exit ticket cannot be like a worksheet. It cannot ask them to solve sums. It cannot ask them to write about a character.
We have Miss Sabha saying second one is better.
Okay, okay. I can see a lot of number 2 coming here. More clarity, the second one. Short and quick. Yes, absolutely. An exit ticket has to be a very fast activity, right? And we have to tell them from a worksheet. A worksheet is an activity which asks the students to answer questions. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, teachers, for those warm responses. Now let me come to the answer. I would say that the second one is a better exit ticket because it asks reflective questions and don't just ask students to solve the sums. So for solving the sums, you can always give them a quiz. You can always give them a worksheet. You can always roll a Google form. You can always give them a question paper. The purpose of exit ticket is completely different. And that is why the thing that we saw before was what kind of questions we expect in an exit ticket, so that we don't end up making an exit ticket which looks like a worksheet or an exercise. Okay? All right. I think that difference was very clear in our minds. And I would now like one volunteer to read out the best exit ticket practices. What to do once we have got the exit tickets done. Okay, Ms. Jaya, go ahead. Ms. Jaya, you may read the first point maybe, and Ms. Akshata can read the next point. Yes.
Timeliness. Review exit ticket responses as soon as possible to address issues promptly.
Right. Okay. Ms. Akshata, would you like to go next? Thank you so much, Ms. Jaya.
Anonymity, consider anonymous response to get honest feedback.
Thank you, Ms. Veena. And oh, I see so many volunteers. It's so heartwarming. Thank you so much. I think I would go for Ms. Veena next, because I see her next on my screen very randomly. Please go ahead.
Ms. Veena.
Ms. Veena.
Student involvement, share trends and insights from exit tickets with the students to create a feedback loop.
Absolutely. So these are some of the best practices when it comes to an exit ticket. Yes, thank you so much for volunteering. You may put your hands down now. I'm sure I'm going to bother you with more questions, so you will get your, more of those opportunities. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much for volunteering. So as a teacher, what is my role after generating the feedback through the exit tickets? If you see some doubt repeated many times through those exit tickets, what do you have to do? You have to revisit that topic, right? Revisit that concept. You probably need to revisit the entire chapter, or maybe one module of it or one topic of it. It depends on the questions that the students have raised. Also, overall, apart from the conceptual understanding, you can understand their overall reaction, their overall experience, and accordingly change your pedagogy. And if you see that a particular question has been raised by only a small group of students, so you did not take that entire concept up with the entire class. You can just separate that group and address their query, right? So there are various ways of using exit tickets and the data that we collect through them. Okay. Now, here comes the catch. We are giving students a lot of liberty here, right? A lot of teachers have written that, it gives the students the liberty or the freedom to speak up, to speak their mind. So as teachers, we have to be ready for both positive and negative feedback. Of course, you're going to get a lot of compliments, a lot of smileys, a lot of emojis saying that class was great. But yes, you might get a few stinkers also. And as a teacher, I think more than those compliments, those stinkers, those critical ones, Ms. Jaya, I think kindly. Okay, I've done that. Okay. So I think the compliments are fine, but those critical ones, they help you to evolve as a teacher more, right? Okay. Now moving ahead. How to integrate the data. Once again, I would like to have a volunteer here. I saw a lot of volunteers for the previous slide. Can we quickly have a volunteer? Ms. Lalita. Yes. Ms. Lalita, how do we integrate the data? Kindly tell us using the slide.
Yeah, ma'am, should I?
Yes, please, absolutely.
Revise lesson plans, additional resources, feedback loop, professional development, incorporate student interests, and individual attention.
Right. So, and the last one is flexible grouping, right? Thank you so much, Ms. Lalita, for reading it out so wonderfully. So, after we have collected the exit ticket feedback, we analyze the responses to identify patterns and misconceptions, okay? Adjust the lesson plans, reteach as needed, and provide individualized support and feedback, enhance engagement with interactive activities, monitor progress over time, and encourage student reflection. Use insights for continuous professional development and instructional development. For example, if I see that I am not able to cater to a particular need, I might seek assistance, I might seek training from a platform like education and training extra mile education and training that was started by Dr. Salam and Mr. Biju, where we learn different skills to upgrade ourselves, right? So all these can be done using the data that we collect using exit tickets. Now, the question that comes up next is, how often is too often? How often should I conduct the exit ticket activities? Please remember, exit ticket is a reflective activity. It should be used as and when the need arises, and typically at the end of a lesson. If we use it, if you make it very tedious or as a repetitive chore, your students would start hating it and they would just do it for the sake of doing it, right? Then your students would stop giving you honest feedback. To avoid that, use an exit ticket when the need arises, when you need to gauge the understanding of the students. And also, instead of just giving them physical format, instead of just giving them a digital exit ticket, use a variety of tools. Just now we learned so many tools, right? So many different formats were discussed. So what we need to do is we need to make a combination of those tools and make this activity an interesting and reflective activity for the students. So not so often, and at the same time, quite often, so that we gauge their understanding and comprehension really very well. Moving ahead, with that, we come to the end of the session, and I would probably request a few more facilitators or educators to come forward and help us with the session summary. You would help us collate the entire data that we discussed here, all the information. I see Ms. Geeta. May I have more volunteers? Yes, yes, of course. I will come to you as well, Ms. Shashi. Ms. Shashikala, yes, I'll come to you as well. So Ms. Geeta, you can go first, followed by Ms. Jayalakshmi and followed by Ms. Shashikala. Yes, please go ahead. Ms. Geeta, please go ahead. Help us summarize the entire session. Yes.
Exit tickets or formative tools. They are inexpensive and fast. They enhance student engagement.
Thank you so much, Ms. Geeta. Now, Ms. Jayalakshmi, you may read the next part. Ms.
They
Jaya?
help teachers evaluate their pedagogy. An array of tools and templates are available at our disposal.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jayalakshmi. And now coming to Ms. Shashikala, our moderator, without whom this session wouldn't be this interesting. Yes, go ahead, Ms. Shashikala. Please unmute yourself. Probably you are muted.
Yes, I'm sorry. Exit ticket must ask questions that are purposeful and deliberate. Integration and prudent use of the collected data is crucial.
Thank you so much for all the three volunteers who volunteered to read the slides so beautifully. Here is some confetti for you. Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so now with that, we understand that exit tickets are really inexpensive. And in our session, we have discussed what are the different ways of making exit tickets. We have understood that end of lesson assessments are very crucial for us. We have discussed how to design ideal questions, analyze feedback, and I couldn't be happier for such an engaging audience, which I really did not have to pester you for anything. You just came forward and volunteered, and you flooded my chat box with so many beautiful compliments and your insights, which are highly, highly precious and valued. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of the session, and now I would like to open the session and the floor for a quick question and answer session. So please send your questions in the chat box. I can see Dr. Salam and the Extra Mile team has already posted the certificate link. It's the common link, okay, for all the sessions that we have. So kindly save it, and by logging into this form, you can get your certificate done. I would like to see if you have any questions for me. If you have any queries, please go ahead. There are a lot of tools that you can use, and you can get them done very easily, quickly. It's very, very simple as a tool. Yes, Ms. Yamini, go ahead. Yes.
Ma'am, my question is regarding these exit forms. They're a great tool, but my challenge is I teach elementary. So I teach KG kids. They don't know how to write. Okay, and if I um, distribute a form with, even if they just have to draw smileys or emojis, it will take a lot longer than 5 minutes, even for a quick assessment. As far as it go, I mean, I like the idea of your beach ball assessment, but there the challenge is there are a lot of kids who are shy and don't want to take part in an assessment like that. So how can I make the assessment inclusive with kids that young, so that I can still adapt my sessions to them and evolve, but at the same time, it doesn't become like, a challenge for the kids also, कि अब ये भी मुझे करना पड़ेगा types.
Exactly. I totally get your question, Ms. Yamini. Okay, to answer the question, there are two ways to answer your question. So we have both physical formats and digital formats. And trust me, even if you are teaching the elementary kids, they know how to play games on their mobile phones, right? So if you send an exit ticket, which consists of a combination of maybe smiley activities and adjusting the meter of happiness or sadness or their comprehension level, they will be able to do it. Trust me, our children are smarter than us, right? So it won't be a tedious activity because they are looking at an interactive tool. These digital applications that we just saw, digital exit tickets that we just saw, they're highly interactive and the students love doing them because they involve a lot of emojis and interactions, right? So that is one way of looking at it, and you can use them very easily even for the elementary grades. Now coming to the digital exit tickets, okay, I understand that elementary grade students will not be able to write answers, right? But then they will be able to color the emojis. For example, I teach a particular subject. I teach light and heavy in the class, right? So I give a few reflective questions based on that, okay? When do you feel very heavy? Okay, when do you feel light as a feather? Right? There are multiple ways of giving them an exit ticket. They don't have to always write. They can even just draw, okay? Draw and give their response. And from that, you can understand, as an elementary teacher, I'm sure you have that expertise to understand what the students are trying to convey from the handy little writing that they are capable of doing, or a little drawing they are capable of doing. You know how to analyze those things and gauge their reaction, right? So these are some of the ways that you can use an exit ticket even in the elementary grade. And talking about digital exit tickets, oh, they would love it. Just go ahead and send one today. These digital exit tickets even allow you to use GIFs, the GIFs. You can even express your emotion using a GIF, right? So it all depends on your creativity and your level of teaching, your way of, what kind of students you're catering to. It entirely depends on that. So all that I showed are very, very standardized, are very, very, generalized in nature. So as a teacher, I know what my students need, so I will have to adapt to that. I'm sure as an elementary grade teacher, you would do your best to practice exit tickets, but it's a request. You must give it a try, right? It's a lot of fun and it's very, very insightful. Yes, if that answers your question, Ms. Yamini. I would take that as yes. Okay, Mr. Vineet. Yes, please go ahead.
Mr. Vineet.
Mr. Vineet, I believe you have a question. You have raised your virtual hand.
Oh, hello, ma'am. This is actually Nupur. I think it's the name of my husband. It is showing.
Okay. Hi, Miss Nupur. I'm so sorry.
Yes. Ma'am, it was a fantastic session. The strategies and all that you shared are really good. But I joined a little late, so I just want to know, like, why the term exit ticket? Like, it gives a feeling of like I joined the session thinking that it's like something for discipline for students, like exit ticket or something. Like, why the term exit ticket?
Thank you for that question. It's a beautiful question you have asked. Okay, so exit tickets are typically used. Okay, there are two types of tickets. Okay, there is one called entry ticket, which are given in the beginning of a lesson to understand the existing knowledge of the students before you start a lesson. That is also quite a helpful activity, and we might have a session on entry tickets some other day. But exit tickets are called so because it is typically given when a session comes to an end, when a class comes to an end, when a topic or a lesson comes to an end. So before you go out of the class, before you really, move to the next chapter, you need an exit ticket for that migration, for that moving to the next
Yes,
lesson.
ma'am.
So it's an
I
attractive
understood.
method that is used, and it's not just used in schools. Exit tickets are extensively used by colleges and universities even, because they find it very, very reflective in nature and very insightful as well, because they really help the teachers and professors to adapt to the students' needs. So far, just like our old assessment system, everything was teacher-centric. We thought that, okay, I know my business, I know what I'm doing, I know my practices. But now when we take a back seat and we give the agency to the students and let them tell us what is right for them, what is good for them, we do get a lot of insights from the young ones. Okay, hence the term, the term exit ticket. Okay, because it is typically
Very nicely explained, ma'am. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the compliment. Okay, are there any other questions? I can see that there are a few questions in the Q&A session. You are in Abu Dhabi and belong to Pakistan. How can I pay for your certificate? Okay, that is something that you will be able to understand once you click on the link that is given. The link, once you click on the link, it opens into a Google form and it comes with a set of instructions. Okay, so from there you will be able to understand how can you pay and how can you get it done. Okay, yes. Please record the video. Okay, for your information, the session is being recorded and it will be made available by Dr. Salam very soon. Yes, any other question? Please go ahead and write to me. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, Ms. Geeta, go ahead. Yes, Ms. Geeta, you've raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, some students are not very expressive. Whenever we ask questions, they just the answer in a word or something. How to make them express and describe what they feel?
Okay,
some
again.
Very expressive. Few are very hesitant to talk and they describe in a word or two.
That's again a very, very insightful question that you have asked. Now, I agree, there are all kinds of students in our classes because our classes are a mixed bag, right? We have students who just can't keep calm, and there are students who would hardly come up and say a word. Now, for them, if you make these activities a regular part of your teaching, for example, this beach ball activity, okay? You give the ball, you pass on the ball to the student who's very reluctant to speak. You will see that in a matter of few months, probably with repeated, if you repeat this attempt a couple of times, in a few months' time, you will see that the child has graduated from one word to probably a phrase. And over a period of time, maybe in the next grade, you will see that the child is using a complete sentence to express himself, whether in written form or orally, right? So this is, as Dr. Salam was saying in the beginning of the session, assessments are continuous, okay? It is not something that we do once and we forget it. So exit tickets are also like that. If we make it a practice, we give the students agency, give them the voice, you will see that there is a marked improvement in each and every child. Doesn't matter which cognition level they belong to. They may belong to a poor cognition level in the beginning, but you will see and you will be glad to see there's a remarkable change in that particular child over a period of time. It will take time, but our effort has to be persistent, right? We have to be eager and really keen to implement those strategies in the class. Does that answer your question, Ms. Geeta?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think with that, we come to I don't see any more questions in the question answer. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Miss
Najra, right? Please go ahead.
Najra.
Yes.
Hi, actually, I wanted to ask this exit tickets we need to prepare after every chapter, every unit.
Okay, again, a very good question. As I said, there was a part of the segment in the our session which said how often is too often, right? It is entirely your decision. After teaching the chapter, if you think that the chapter was of a certain difficulty level, or after teaching a lesson, for example, I teach an English lesson, and I think that it was not just about understanding the lesson, it was also about the value that is imparted through the lesson. So I would include an exit ticket after the lesson for that, okay? So it doesn't have to be after every class. In that way, it becomes tedious. And also you are ideally it should be given at the end of every topic. Okay, say you are teaching light in physics. Once you have taught the entire lesson, you can give them an exit ticket and understand their comprehension. If you feel that the lesson was rather long, and after teaching a couple of concepts, I would like to check whether the students are understanding well, you may even incorporate an exit ticket there. But having said that, if we are very tedious in our approach and we always give them a printout, we always give them a physical format, or we always send a Google form, that might get tedious for the students and they get bored and they stop responding, or they just give mechanical answers. That is not the purpose. So as a teacher, ideally you should include an exit ticket at the end of every lesson. However, that can be done using a diverse range of tools so that the students feel involved, engaged, and at the same time they take interest in doing this activity. Okay, they share their experiences, they share their feelings with you. And again, as I said, an exit ticket should not look like a worksheet. Then students will treat it like one, and they will not take it as a reflective activity. Okay, so
Miss Sogini, if you permit, I will add to it your points.
Yes.
Okay, exit tickets, we must remember that nowadays education is outcome based.
Correct.
We have to look for the outcome. What the students have achieved through your lesson. What are they able to demonstrate? What are they able to do? So exit tickets are ways and means to measure the learning outcome. How far the lesson went successful, how far the students have mastered the concepts. So there are various exit tickets which you can use for measuring the learning outcome.
Correct.
So nowadays
yes,
education is learning outcome based rather than objective based. So we have to see that whether the outcome is met or not, achieved or not. That is as simple as that. Thank you.
I was about to say that, Dr. Salam, you have sort of summarized the entire idea that I was trying to convey. Thank you so very much for that. As Dr. Salam said, it is outcome based, right? So at the end of every lesson, we are supposed to give an exit ticket using diverse tools so that students feel engaged, they feel interested to share their reflections, and we can adapt according to their needs. We can change our strategies, we can change our pedagogy according to their needs, right? That does that answer your question, Ms. Najra?
Yeah, we can go for.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I was not able to write in the chat. The chat was even disabled and I was not able to unmute myself. So as sir told, yes, it is outcome based. So we need to know that which student has grasped the knowledge how much. In that way, as you told, it becomes tedious, and they start feeling bored that what ma'am is giving again and again for each and every topic or each and every chapter she'll be giving these things. It becomes monotonous, tedious. So for that purpose I asked, so in which way and how we can, after how many topics, or which it would be better so that I can know that which students has grasped.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Najra. Again, to answer the same question, very quickly, I would say that it will become tedious if you give the same type of questions every time. If you use the same format every time. If you use a diverse range of tools, then that wouldn't happen. For example, we use diverse types of social media handles, right? We don't restrict ourselves only to Facebook. We also like to go to Instagram. We also like to go to Twitter. Why? Because these are different tools that take us closer to all that is happening in the world. The same way, if you use diverse tools for the students to give their reflections and their learning outcome related, your questions related to the learning outcome, I'm sure it will be a successful exercise and your students won't feel that it is tedious.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This was nice. Yeah, thank you very much.
Let's use our creativity.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
That's the word that I was looking for. Yes.
So, Shashikala ma'am, let's wind up.
Yes,
absolutely. Sure. Yes, ma'am, we were very sure that this session would be definitely very engaging and interactive as usual, like all your sessions. So I would like to extend our gratitude and appreciation for Ms. Sohini Biswas for enlightening us with boundless discourse. I'm sure we are better equipped and are ready to inculcate the new assessment practices in learning and teaching practices with confidence and guide our young learners to reap maximum benefit out of it. And dear participants, kindly note that the certificate link and feedback form has already been shared. So you're requested to fill up the feedback form with all the necessary details, which is very important. And ma'am, once again, I really thank you for such an interactive, and I think now at this time, the session is really important for us to start off the year with new assessment strategies and to deal with different kind of learners. Thank you. So I, Shashikala, along with Extra Mile Education and Training, would like to thank Dr. Abdul Salam for his boundless support and guidance. Thank you, sir, for such a great opportunity. So over to you, sir.
Well, a big thank you to Sohini ma'am and Shashila ma'am and all the participants for your wonderful interaction. The session was engaging, Ms. Sohini, and the presentation was awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank
You have to teach us how this presentation is made. Everybody was asking.
Yes, I saw that. It's all the credit goes to Canva, and I've also shared a toolkit in the chat box for everyone so that you can learn from those apps. And Dr. Salam, if I may just take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to you and Mr. Biju for this wonderful opportunity, and a heartfelt thanks to all the participants for being this enthusiastic throughout the session. Yes,
You're
over
welcome.
to you.
You're welcome. And Biju sir, thank you for your presence throughout and all the participants. So every session is very important, as there are definitely, we always think that, yes, I know. When we announce a topic, sometimes we think, yes, I know. But I always believe that there will be something to take as new. So here you must have got a couple of takeaways from the session, definitely. And nowadays, everybody should be tech savvy. Without technology, we cannot teach. And technology will save our time as well. Instead of writing the questions on the board and preparing the printout and all, you can use the technology. So that was a kind of motivation from Sohini to use technology through this session. So thank you so much, Sashikala ma'am, Sohini ma'am, and all participants for your interaction and your participation. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So with your permission, I would like to thank the audiences again.
Yes, please.
Yes, so dear participants, we really thank you for all your enthusiasm and being active throughout the session. And your enthusiasm is actually a motivation for us to come up with much more interesting sessions. And so we have Ms. Indu Chaturvedi raising hand to talk. So
no, madam was clapping her hands.
Clapping, and she actually raised her hand as well.
Okay, Indu madam always attends our sessions without fail. So thank you, Indu ma'am, and all the participants. Thank you so much. We are winding up. Have a very good night. Biju sir, good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Good night, sir.
Good night and have